41-year-old Lee Parker from Bolton tipped the scales at 22 stone just 5 months ago. His waist size was a whopping 50 inches. But in 16 weeks of exercising regularly and eating better, he's shed 5 stone.
I've got a family, I'm married, I've got a young boy, we've got a little boy who's 8. He's going to go up to 18, I'm going 40 to 50. We've got really big years ahead.
To make healthier lifestyle choices. Sky's Enda Brady reports.
41-year-old Lee Parker from Bolton tipped the scales at 22 stone just 5 months ago. His waist size was a whopping 50 inches. But in 16 weeks of exercising regularly and eating better, he's shed 5 stone.
I've got a family, I'm married, I've got a young boy, we've got a little boy who's 8. He's going to go up to 18, I'm going 40 to 50. We've got really big years ahead of us. I want to be active for him and my family and for myself as well, for my own health. I don't want to be walking around in 50 waist clothes anymore. I wanted to look good and feel good, and doing that inspired me to lose the weight. And my son inspired me to lose the weight as well.
How are you?
Lee was determined to get fit after taking the NHS 1U quiz. Experts believe the modern way of life means it's vital to take fitness and diet more seriously, especially once you've hit 40.
The average life now is an hour commuting, 8 hours sitting, another hour sitting on the way home. And that influences what you can do for yourself. It causes stress. It influences how you can eat and what freedom you've got to cook the way you want, and of course the amount of activity you take. So we now see this as an environmental problem at least as much as a lifestyle problem.
Lee says he could never have predicted he would do so well, and says if he can do it, anyone can. His ambition for 2017 is to keep this going and run the Manchester Marathon in April. Enda Brady, Sky News.
Well, now Sky's Harriet Hadfield has been at a gym in Sevenoaks in Kent.
They've been threatening to get me on a piece of equipment since I arrived, so I thought the rowing was quite easy. It was also a good way to get to talk to Catherine here. Now, Catherine, you are right in the middle of that 40 to 60 age range. So tell me, how much of a struggle is it for you to keep everything under control and to keep healthy?
Well, it is really hard because I've got 2 small children, a job which takes up a lot of time, and so fitting in, getting to the gym is really quite hard.
And that is one of the things that this study suggests, that people they're calling it middle-aged, although I don't think 40 is middle-aged at all, but they're things that people find hard in that middle part of their life because they've got children to look after, they've got ageing parents, they've got lots of responsibilities at work, sometimes health problems as well.
Well, and that's absolutely the case for me because I've got lymphedema, primary lymphedema in my right foot, which has meant that I've had to cut down on quite a lot of the running that I was doing previously. And so coming to somewhere like this is perfect because they help me do exercises that I can actually do and doesn't aggravate the condition.
Now, thinking about your friends, are you surprised when you hear that 80% of people are struggling either with their weight or with their fitness or with drinking too much? How much does that surprise you?
I'm not at all surprised by it because I think it's very, very easy to get into that kind of mindset and to get into that way of thinking. And people get into a sort of rut where it's easier not to do anything than it is to do something. But I think people that have made the effort and have gone out, they have got more energy. And I think actually it does give you more energy to do the rest of your life, really. And
you're feeling and looking better for it. Thank you so much for talking to us on Sky News. We'll let you keep paddling away. But Public Health England want people to go onto their website. They want them to take a quiz that 1 million people have now taken called How Are You? And within that, you might have a few answers, however healthy you think you are, that might surprise you.
Harriet Hadfield there, rowing with a microphone. Now, Harrison Ford has led tributes to his Star Wars co-star Carrie Fisher, describing her as one of a kind, brilliant, funny and emotionally fearless. The star, known as Princess Leia, of course, died 4 days after having a heart attack on a flight from London to Los Angeles. And our US correspondent Greg Milam now looks back at her life.
Where you going? No, wait, no, here!
Carrie Fisher was 19 when she played the part that would change her life.
Listen, I don't know who you are or where you came from. From now on, you do as I tell you, okay?
But if Princess Leia and Star Wars defined her acting career, she gave the world much more. She'd been Hollywood royalty from birth. Her mother, the actress Debbie Reynolds, her father, the singer Eddie Fisher. It put her in a spotlight that the success of Star Wars intensified, and she admitted turning to drugs to deal with the problems of fame. Her private life was also always public. Her marriage to Paul Simon lasted a year. She married again, and it was her daughter, Billie, who confirmed her death. In a statement, she said she was loved by the world and will be missed profoundly. She'd been in hospital since Friday after falling ill on a flight home from London. She'd been promoting a new autobiography, one just as open and honest as all her writing. She never hid her struggles with addiction and mental health. Many of those paying tribute now thanked her for destigmatizing so much for so many.
These guys won't cover you in the event that you do drugs. What can I tell you?
I'm not doing any drugs, Marty.
The movie of her book, Postcards from the Edge, was a typically honest look into the life of a drug-addicted actor trying to salvage her career. Last year, she returned to the Star Wars spotlight. It was her co-stars who led the tributes. The actor Mark Hamill, who played Luke Skywalker in the Star Wars series, tweeted simply, "No words, devastated." Anthony Daniels, who played C-3PO, said, "I thought I'd got what I wanted under the tree. I didn't, in spite of so many thoughts and prayers from so many. I am very, very sad."
She was very, very down to earth, you know, even though she was hugely famous, you know, played this iconic character, Princess Leia. When she walked the red carpet, she was the everyman. She was just, you know, she didn't let it go to her head, you know. She was just warm, friendly, kind, and there were no airs and graces about her at all.
And Star Wars fans at a screening of the spin-off Rogue One in New York added their voices.
It was so great to see her in The Force Awakens. You know, I just feel really sad.
She was just a great icon, and she will definitely be missed for sure.
Princess is gone. There'll be nobody like her ever again.
Last month, Carrie Fisher revealed she'd had an affair with Harrison Ford at the time of the first movie. He called her one of a kind, brilliant, original. "We will all miss her," he said.
We were so foolish to think I could find Luke and bring him home.
Leia.
She had finished filming for the latest Star Wars film. It will be released next year for friends and fans. A big screen goodbye from an icon. Greg Milam, Sky News, Los Angeles.
Several crew members are reported to be missing after a fishing vessel capsized off the coast of Kent. The Coast Guard is searching the area after the boat sank last night. One person was found apparently clinging to the hull. A search and rescue helicopter from Lydd, 2 lifeboats from Ramsgate and the Coast Guard rescue team from Margate are all involved in the search. Dutch police are investigating whether the man believed to be responsible for the Christmas market attack in Berlin travelled through the Netherlands. 12 people died in the attack last Monday. The Tunisian suspect, 24-year-old Anis Amri, was shot dead on Friday by Italian police. Dozens of women's eggs may have been fertilised by the wrong sperm at a Dutch IVF treatment facility. The University Medical Centre in Utrecht has apologised for what it calls a procedural error and has launched an investigation, it says. Half the women who underwent fertility treatment became pregnant or gave birth. The couples, the clinic says, have been informed. A third of councils in England will have their government funding cut next year, threatening budgets for social care, according to Labour's Andy Burnham. The former health secretary, who's now running to become mayor of Greater Manchester, says government spending claims are misleading.
Far from giving councils more money, as they claimed before Christmas, this shows that 1 in 3 councils is going to get a cut from the government next April. Now, given the pressure on our hospitals and given the crisis in social care, when the public hears that the government is actually cutting social care, I think they will find that very hard to believe.
And this is Sky News, coming up. Well, Mike Smith from the Patients Association joins me live from southwest London. And very good morning to you, Mr. Smith. And I think I can rather anticipate your response to these findings. Give it to us.
Well, the response is that it's a tax on the sick. But if you look at the people who are paying, And given the government guidance that anybody that has to attend hospital regularly because they've got cancer, because they've got an ear and ear in, because they're having to go to outpatients constantly, should be allowed some sort of pass. But most trusts, it would appear, or many if not most, actually stick to their own policy and charge. Now, it's been going up like mad. As you say, it's 120 million now, of which some 600,000 is paid for in fines. The last thing you want when you're going to hospital is to suddenly have to worry like mad, as people do, about whether they've paid their dues or not, and get a ticket if they haven't. I mean, it's outrageous. I mean, if in fact, and undoubtedly more money is needed for the NHS, then all of us should be paying, not those who are at their most vulnerable, and especially if they're on the breadline and have to get to hospital and still get either clamped or have to pay these big charges. Also, many of the car parking fees are not like they do in modern places where you get a ticket and you pay for what you've had when you've had it. In hospitals, quite often, you have to pay up front. So if you suddenly find you've got to pay longer, you've got to rush back, fill the machine up again, make sure you've got pound coin, all that at the time, as I say, when you're there for sickness reasons, and it's most unreasonable. Scotland and Wales don't do it, mostly, so why should we do it in England?
I mean, there's so many dimensions to it, aren't there, Mr. Smith? But do you think, in a way, though, that you mentioned it there because, obviously, many concerns about NHS funding overall. Do you think the Department of Health, in a way, turned a blind eye to it all? Because they could direct hospitals, well, and hospital trusts, could they not, to at least have some leeway to lower the charges or to not have charges at all? They're turning a blind eye because it's a way for the trusts to raise revenues.
Well, I think it's a good point to make to the Department of Health and say, you know, you give this guidance, why don't you have some sort of check-up that the guidance is being followed? If it were, I mean, for people that only have to go to hospital once, they would not, I think, mind paying the parking charge that they have to pay. As I say, Scotland and Wales don't, so why should England? But that would be a different matter. But it is the people that have to go a lot whose the guidance is that they should be given some sort of Oyster card so that they get their time for nothing. In fact,
as clouds drift